Good morning, fellow traders. Happy Monday to you. Today is Monday, July the 21st, and we're ready to take a look at kind of last week and where we ended, what happened, and how things are looking this week. I think the theme for me, at least on a Monday morning here, as I've spent the last hour or two here looking at charts this morning, I definitely think today is a looking for pullbacks. That's kind of the mentality that I'm at this morning. I do think this market as a whole is pretty bullish. I'll tell you why here in a minute. Let's just dive in. Again, kind of looking for pullbacks, looking for this thing to hold and or break out. We did have a nice pullback on Friday, which I think was actually quite bullish, pulling back into this area where we had these highs coming in early last week. Also note on Friday, we on the NASDAQ, we bounced right off the CPI high print. So this was right, the low of Friday was right at the CPI high. And interestingly enough, on ES, the low from Friday was right at the CPI low, a little bit below that, but basically right at the CPI low. So interesting there, but both reactions at pretty key levels. I think the big thing for me today as I'm looking at, or kind of a bigger picture on the NASDAQ, is you've got this, I made it a little bit more bright here, but you've got multiple reactions coming in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times here around the 2395s. 23-100s you could call it, and then you've got also the kind of the bottom end of that little range right here on the 2370s. Got some reactions there, and I feel like we really need to hold above that level. If we can hold above this range, you know, in the 2380s, if we can hold above that, I think we have opportunity for further upside. So we could see a deeper pullback. I really would like to see us hold the CPI high, hold the Friday low. I don't really want to see us break below that, but if we do, that's kind of the line in the sand for me. If we fall below there, we're probably looking for a downside move back down into the daily 20, back down into this consolidation, which I'm not a big fan of. But that is something to be, be out on the lookout for if we do get a major, deeper pullback. It could be short term, but we could see us fall into that range. If we can hold this, I think a couple of nice longs could be, really there's some reactions coming in here around the 23, what do I have there, 270s. You've got some high reactions coming in here on Thursday. You've got a little bit of reaction here on Friday early, and then you have an aftermarket reaction. You have a bit of a fake out here, but now we have broken above that. The question is, does this hold, and do we get a further upside, or is this simply going to pull down deeper? Are we going to retest this area here? You could also put a little level right in here, but I don't want to get too deep into the weeds. I want to keep this thing pretty big picture. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback. The question is just how deep is it going to be this morning? You could easily see a pullback to this level. Again, not that much there to support it, so I didn't put it on the charts. I really think the CPI high is a bigger one, and you've got these little reactions coming in here right around the 23-186s. So a pullback into this area for a long trade would be really, really nice setup this morning, I think. We'll see what happens here at market open. But again, I think the big thing for me on the NASDAQ is I want to see us hold for sure above this 23,080 area. And I really would like us to hold above the CPI prints. If we can do that, we probably have further upside and this market continuing to expand out of this consolidation area that we've been in. Yes, here we go. Very similar picture, although it's a little bit more muddy, I think is the word I'm looking for. You notice these bright green lines here. The range I've got is around the 6310s, you could call it. You've got some highs and lows coming in right around the 6310s. I do think that's an area that we probably want to hold if we want to continue to see further upside. And again, like we talked earlier, the pullback on Friday came to the CPI low, whereas on the NASDAQ, we pulled back to the CPI high print. But I would like to see us hold above the 6310s. If we can do that, I think we have further upside coming. Again, the pullback, healthy pullback into these areas right here around the 6330s on Friday, and that was kind of where the overnight session started again last night, Sunday night, and we've pushed out of it. And again, we've topped off right here at the Friday high on ES, and we're pulling back now in the 7:30 hour here this morning. So the question is how deep. I really think that's the ultimate question here this morning. I do think we'll get a bit of a pullback. The question is, how deep will it be? Will it be to some of these levels here, or are we going to see a deeper pullback? And again, like I said on the NASDAQ, if we do fall below, I think this bright green area here for the ES on the 6310s, if we fall below the 6310s, we're probably going to be setting up some shorts down again into this consolidation area, which is something I am not a fan of. I really want us to hold above these levels, but again, we have to trade what the market gives us and not what we want to see. And that is something that I really need to keep in mind. If we do get a push out, if we get a small pullback here this morning on ES and or the NASDAQ, if we just kind of stagnate here and we get a little push, I would look for a break and retest above Friday's highs. NASDAQ would be Friday's highs, ES as well. If we get a break and retest above Friday's highs, maybe above the all-time highs here on the ES, that could set up a nice long trade. And again, you're into uncharted territory. So this becomes, need to be, myself, I really need to, if that occurs, definitely need to take profit quickly, or at least safeguard yourself so that you're not, leaving some money on the table for a potential short little move and some choppy action here to the upside. And we also could see a big expansion move up, and then we get a slower pullback. So Dow Jones is definitely, we're in this kind of, what do I want to call it, this consolidation area. I think that's the right term right here. I mean, really it goes all the way back here, but we're really kind of in a range. And unless we break out of that range, I think this becomes kind of a non-trade area. You can see I marked out this bright green line here, which I think is very, very easy to see. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that. Let me get rid of this box. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that here we have some key highs and we had an expansion move higher, and we've dipped down right to that level multiple times. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 reactions, 5 reactions, 6, 7, 8, 9 reactions to that level. And that was Friday's pullback exactly right down to this 44,440, I think we could call it. So if we get a pullback to it would set up a nice long, and I think that's a long I would potentially take, even though it's right into the consolidation area. And here's the if then. If the NASDAQ and the ES are strong and pushing higher, then I would consider taking a pullback. If we get a move and push out of that where it looks very strong on ES and NASDAQ, I think that's a potential trade to take here on the Dow Jones. But also, if we fail that could set up a break and retest short down into these lower levels. Now, that would put us right into the PPI area and the daily 20. The daily 20 has caught up here. So I think, again, this is just my idea, not saying that I'm right, but I think that really means that we're going to hold and push. I really think that's what we're going to see this week. We're going to see a move to the upside. How big of a move that is or how choppy that move is, I have no idea, obviously, but I feel like this market is poised for further upside. So we'll keep our eye on that. If we do break above Friday's high of day, that was right at this level, which is why it looks a little bit funny, because I've got two levels together there, the purple line and also this red resistance from right here around the 44,800s. But if we break above the Friday high, that 800 area, and we get a break and retest long, I would definitely look for that on the Dow Jones. Russell, definitely in that similar pattern to the Dow Jones, in kind of that sideways trend, kind of a consolidation. We've got a little bit up down choppiness, but nice little pullback here on Friday, and we're pushing out of that. We're above the CPI high print right now, kind of falling in that CPI area. So I think the must holds really for the Dow Jones and the Russell are quite similar. It is the Friday low. I think the Friday low has to hold. Here's the Friday low on the Russell, and look at the Friday low here on the Dow Jones, right into this previous resistance area. So I do want to see those two areas hold, whereas on the NASDAQ and on the ES, it's more this area below the pullback from Friday. NASDAQ, like we talked about, this 2380 range, and on ES, it's the 6310s. Dow Jones, it's the 4440s. And on the Russell, it's the 2250 area, 2247. So that's the area we want us to hold in order to get further upside. And again, if we do break out, again, we're just going to take what the market gives us. But I'm really focused a lot more today, I think, on the Nasdaq, and on ES I do think that's a little bit more clear, and it's got some nice potential. So I say that, and then we might get a nice setup on the Dow Jones or the Russell, and that's fine. We'll take what the market gives us. But again, like we saw on the Dow Jones, on the Russell, the daily 20 has kind of caught up really closely here to where price is at. Sitting right here at the 22.25s, the daily 200 sitting here at the 22.18. So again, these are all things that I believe look like the market is going to continue to push higher. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. We do have a little mini push going on right now here. I do know that there's some earnings coming out this week. Some of them pre-market, some of them post-market. I don't keep close track of that, but I do know that there's some earnings coming out, so that could definitely influence things a little bit. Not much of a move going on the Nasdaq and on ES, but on the Russell we have a little bit of a push going right now, so that's interesting. What else? I feel like I'm missing something I wanted to talk about. Maybe not. I guess we'll leave it there. It is 7:30. We'll see what this market does. Oh, I know the other thing I wanted to mention. We don't have a lot of news this week. That was the other thing that was on my mind. And if I could find that, where's my chart? Here's this week's news. Let's take a look at that real quick. So as you can see, really nothing. Whoops. Really nothing this week. We have unemployment claims on Thursday, which is a big one, and flash manufacturing PMI. We have that on Thursday. We have a yellow folder tomorrow. We have Fed Chair Powell speaking, Richmond Manufacturing tomorrow, 8:30 and 10. Wednesday, existing home sales at 10, the yellow folder event, and then you have the unemployment claims. So really, and then durable goods on Friday. So you've got some yellow folder events or orange folder events, so to speak. Definitely nothing crazy this week. The big one becoming Thursday morning. So again, I think that could help us out a little bit, could also hurt us, could cause consolidation. But again, I do think this thing is poised for further upside. At least that's my 2 cents here this morning. So, okay, we'll leave you with that. That's the thought for today. Looking for pullbacks and looking for further upside on the market, and taking what we can get. So have a good day. Have a good week. Trade well today. And we'll catch up with you on the next one. Take care, and so long.